Welcome back to the Going for Three pod. This is episode 28. I'm one of your usual hosts, Chris Collins, aka the AOB, the Advocate of Buckets. And with me, as usual, is Tony Farr, aka G, and PTP slash Percy Thomas slash Cade Cunningham enthusiast. How you doing today, fellas?
We're doing good, man.
Ready to get into some finals talk, man. Warriors going stupid.
Grants wants the box.
I want a box.
Grabs, you gotta get into it. Pump up the volume.
Either way, so before we get into our NBA slate, which is a lot's been going on, we want to touch on some quick NFL news. Aaron Donald getting paid like a quarterback. So the Rams defensive tackle agreed to rework his contract this past week. That's going to pay him an average salary of more than 31.6 million a year through 2024. The total value is about 95 million, which is about 40 more than he was previously scheduled to make, and it's about 65 million in guaranteed money. So to say that he's getting to the bag is an understatement, fellas. How do you feel about just the contract as a whole and what those implications mean for the Rams going forward? If it has any restrictions on them or if it's going to be an issue for them going forward.
Well, it seems like the narrative that the salary cap isn't real to some people.
It's getting more
It
proven
seems-
by the day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the Rams keep coming up with money, but obviously they believe by doing this because if I read it correctly, I can't even speak tonight. If I read it correctly, the third year is a player option for 30. I know there was talks of possible retirement, whatever, so that he can bounce out and retire if he wants. So I'm guessing they're figuring they've got a window. They've got a couple more years of a window here with this. And, given the way the salary cap is, it's constantly going up. I could see it as high as 250 the following season, maybe more. I mean, just seems to be a trend in the league of star players of any position getting paid big contracts. It's just going to continue from here. Man got his money. He's worth his money. Like I said, I think they figure there's a window, probably a couple more years they could hold on to this before they might have to break it apart a little bit. I'm not saying full rebuild, but break it apart some. So they're going for it all in. No issue for me. I get it.
That's fair. GTP?
That pretty much covers everything. But I mean, the only thing I had about it is I remember when they won, and it was like the weeks afterwards where he was kind of like talking about running it back, and he wanted I think he wanted Vaughn and Odell to come back. Most people on the team did, but since Vaughn's already in Buffalo, off the he got a bag as well, and I think Odell's holding the block, right? Due to the injury.
I'm unsure of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm unsure of it.
So it's like a lot of the two main people that he wanted back are kind of like either snatched up or just won't even play the next season going into it. So I still feel like the chances of him retiring on that third year of the option is still very much present because I mean the team is still going to be good, but it does put them in a weird position cap wise with him kind of getting probably what was left of that already very very small amount of cap space that they have. So unless they like make some rearrangements, like a restructure of a deal, like I don't know how much Ramsey is making. They might restructure Stafford's deal, even though they already I think re-upped him when he got there the first time. But he definitely is worth like a payday. Honestly, overall, he's worth the payday.
I agree. Yeah, to Graham's point, they think their window is now, so to capitalize on it. I mean, it's not like I don't think it's like a particularly bad contract or anything like that. I mean, they have some guys on there that are older, so it kind of matches their timeline. So yeah, like like Graham said, it's really just about maximizing that. And I mean, Aaron kind of gave a subtle threat, you know,
Yeah.
seemed like he was retiring basically if this wasn't worked out in a way that he, desired, which is fine. I mean, he deserves the money. Um, I mean, he played like he played like the Super Bowl MVP. Could have easily won that. I mean, he was just as important on that side of the ball as anybody else was on the other side. So, I mean, hey, he got to the bag.
I mean, it's the way of the league now, you know?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, now you got, receivers getting this kind of money. It was kind of seems like just the way the league's progressing, where star defensive players like him who are proven are going to be paid this kind of money going forward. So I expect more similar contracts, maybe not a lot of them, but similar contracts for other types of players going forward in the league. I think it's going to become more regular.
Yeah, I agree with the like as far as the way the league was going on that aspect, but I don't think I unless I'm missing somebody and I'm just not thinking about somebody. There might be one other person, but they're not really like a Super Bowl contending team right now. There might be one other defensive player that I could justify that deserves this type of money.
Well, I mean, maybe not necessarily right this second, but I think the trend will probably continue for certain players that are going to get that kind of money. It's just the way the league's going to be.
Yeah.
Mm.
If receivers are going to get $30 million, star defensive players, proven star defensive players, are probably going to end up getting there too. Some, a handful. Obviously, others, not everybody will, of course, but some. It's going to be a trend.
Yeah. Should be interesting to see what the uptick would be like, though, honestly. Because talent is getting better. So they're going to eventually start, like, having to supply more of the bigger bags that they would give to probably more or less the offensive side of the ball.
I mean, think about it. If you look at it fiscally, the way the league is going, and they keep getting more and more money through TV deals. Now they're more international, whatever. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that in the next 3 to 5 years, the league salary cap is going to be $300 million. So these kind of contracts,
Well, that's wishful thinking, considering where we are economically.
I
But
wouldn't be.
That is true, too.
I wouldn't be surprised. In 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised.
That probably be based off the state, not the state, but like off the country as a whole, and then like just probably like how much they make off the next few NFL seasons. Because I don't even. We're probably gonna end up making more money off the season, depending
I
on.
mean,
Like,
for all I know, there'll be a new TV deal in the next 3 to 5 years, and it'll be so much more than what they're getting now that they'll be able to do it. Certainly theoretical.
yeah.
Wouldn't shock me.
yeah,
Oh.
perhaps. Well, either way, we will definitely be keeping an eye on things of that nature moving forward, and we want to congratulate Mr. Donald on getting to the bag. In other news, the main event of sports right now, the NBA Finals is going on right now. Games 1 and 2 have been played. We're taking this chance to go through those games just to talk about how we feel about them, what we saw, what we expect moving forward. So, game 1 was on June 2nd, with Boston taking it 120 to 108. Boston used a 40 to 16 fourth quarter to propel them to the victory over Golden State. Any thoughts about that game, fellas?
I'm
gonna
not
let the Bears go first on this one.
okay. All right. I'm not so much shocked that Boston won a game there. Or that they had a run in the fourth quarter to get the win. What surprised me is the 3-point barrage, to be honest. Because we're not the best 3-point shooting team in the league, and the fact that we had a barrage of that nature, that's something I would expect Golden State to do, not us.
I mean, this isn't the first time, even in these playoffs, maybe not to this extent, but this isn't the first time you guys have gotten hot and shot a team off the floor. It's happened multiple times in this playoffs.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Happened a couple times to the Heat.
Yeah. How's the Bucks? It happens a lot actually.
Yeah.
Like I said, not to that extent, of course, but
Yeah, the difficulty of shots they were making definitely probably not. 'Cause,
Yeah, that was a surprise.
yeah, I would say, Derek White definitely catching fire. I feel like he was the one that was really, I expect that from Jaylen Brown from time to time. Did not expect that from Derek White,
yeah.
No,
especially he had been kind of off and on throughout the playoffs. I wouldn't say he's been bad, but I definitely can say he's been inconsistent for sure.
it's more of a Grant Williams off the bench kind of thing, and not White. Yeah, that was definitely a surprise.
Yeah.
Williams has kind of just been a non-factor so far, but you
What did
know,
I, what did I tell you at the beginning of the beginning of the series? I don't think. Hey, I don't. I don't understand why he's getting minutes in this series. I don't think his impact is needed on this particular, matchup.
Yeah. I feel like the only reason he's really getting minutes is because it's either him or Tice, and I don't think they want Tice on the floor, which we'll probably get into at some point. Like, I don't think they want him on the
Tice,
floor either.
after last game, Tice has shown that this is not going to be his series, and as a result, he shouldn't get any minutes. And if he does get minutes, his minutes need to be matched when Steph Curry sits down. He does not need to be in the game as long as Steph Curry's in the game.
I agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Matchup hunt him, and for some reason, there was I'll wait to get to it even more in detail. But there was a possession in game two that Al Horford did that I was really impressed with. But I'll get to that one. But
Hmm.
PTP game one.
Well, just the main two things that I noticed. Obviously this being his first finals appearance, Poole didn't look the greatest. Him and Thompson had a couple of error turnovers. Just I don't know if it's because like they had so much time off because they've been cleaning people up in a pretty efficient amount of games. So they might have been like the extra time off and they just came back a little bit sluggish. But well, outside of Curry and like Looney, like them guys showed up. Jaylen Brown is he's starting to become one of them guys to me because down the stretch, this man was man made some tough shots, put the team on his back a little bit. Tatum had some shooting struggles as well, but he still kept himself in the game with the dimes. I think he had like 13 assists.
Yeah.
Correct. 13. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like he still find a way to make himself important and just kind of like G said earlier, like the shooting expedition that the Celtics went on in the last few minutes of that game was some stuff that I'd never seen before. Like Derek White off the shoulder bump, drain. I think Al Horford hit like 3 crucial buckets, 2 threes, and a midi. Like,
Horford, he hit 6 threes total.
yeah, 6 total. Uh, yeah. On the interior, I feel like both teams kind of did like struggle a little bit. I mean, then the Celtics had a little bit of like a struggle trying to figure out how to guard like the initial Warriors offense in like the first 2 quarters because Curry was like butt naked on I don't know how many threes, but eventually kind of locked it in as the game went on. So it was kind of like what I thought it would be, like a game of adjustments. And for game one, Ime started to down the stretch have the better adjustments. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not sure that I would say that because I mean, through 3 quarters, they were down by a significant amount, and I mean, although they played better defense and they started stepping up on Steph, it was really just the offensive explosion that obviously cannot be maintained. That kind of just,
kind of just happened.
yeah. I mean, they won the quarter by 24 points and only ended up winning by 12. So, I mean,
Yeah. But
um,
it's one of them concepts with the Warriors though. As far as like their third quarter is always going to be like their bread and butter. They always go
yeah,
stupid
I
in the
mean,
third quarter.
that's the runs that they go on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, I came away from this game thinking that Boston definitely stole this game.
Yeah.
Um, the game that's a game that the Warriors shouldn't lose, and Boston coming away with that win, they should feel happy about that. That's how I came away feeling because I didn't think that they played the best. I mean, they played good for sure, but there's definitely some things to work on. Obviously, like you said, especially in the beginning with how they were guarding Curry. So
Yeah.
all in all, I mean, definitely an entertaining game to watch for sure. I mean that was crazy.
That was a
Like you said, that
spectacle.
that yeah, that flurry of threes, that was they started. Boy, I mean the bank was open.
Hand in face, wide open,
The
off the
bank was
dribble.
open every day and twice on Tuesday, apparently, because my goodness, they was hitting everything. It was
Man.
cashing. Even Gramps wasn't too excited though. Gramps is really just nervous as all hell, honestly. He can't
Uh,
even
that's
he
that's
can't
not
even
no,
allow
you know
himself, he can't
that's
even
not
allow himself to have excitement.
that's not necessarily a lie.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a lie.
That boy had his teeth clenched like, dang, I hope we clutch this.
Yeah. Either way, man. After that game, game one. So I believe what was it? 3 days later, June 5th, game two occurred. With Golden State winning against the Celtics 107-88. Golden State used one of their patent third quarter runs. Same thing they did in game one, although this time around Boston didn't go on a crazy explosion. So,
Yeah.
what are you guys' feelings about this game in particular, game two?
You can go first, BTB.
Okay. Well, I just want to start off by saying, in the words of Dwight Howard when he was having his post game interview with the Hawks, it all started with the D for the Golden State Warriors in Game Two. Um,
Hey yo.
I mean, hey, it started with the D. They came out aggressive in the first possession, wrapped up Al Horford for a jump ball. Didn't win the jump ball, but I mean, it showed that they were ready to play. Draymond was a little more angsty, in my eyes.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, but oh yeah, he back in the '80s, like Cedric Maxwell said, they would have fought. That's how aggressive Green was playing in game two. But once again, Clay is still in a slump. Everybody sees it. It's very much apparent. Even in garbage time, when they tried to get him to shake some of his rust off, he still couldn't do it. So that's still going to be something they have to work on in the back of their mind. But overall, I mean, you know what you're getting from Curry. He had to work a little harder in game two because Celtics did make a couple of adjustments. And also Tatum as well. Even though Tatum I think he had more points in game two than he did in game one, but he's still struggling a little bit too, just making the gimmies, like the wide open shots. But mainly for me was like Gary Payton coming back. I feel like even though it might not show statistically, just like probably like plus minus defensively when he's on the floor, they look a lot smoother. They can switch more. He's just as vocal as Draymond on the defensive end, and even his offensive screens. Honestly, he's had a really good screen for Curry. I think in maybe the second, late third, or early third, something like that. So it was a game that the Warriors needed to win to at least not go into Boston down 0-2. So solid win for the Warriors.
Fair, fair. Gramps G.
I mean, the Warriors were highly impressive. I mean, they bought again. Boston didn't shoot very well. They came out flat. Warriors punched them in the mouth. I'm not really going to go too deep into the Draymond thing. It's a little, well.
Oh, too bad. 'Cause I'm gonna go into it. We're gonna talk about it.
Okay, well, you know what?
Maybe not now, but we'll talk.
He should have been ejected, but the Warriors punched the Celtics in the mouth. The Celtics looked like the stage was too big for them. I think that's probably a good way to describe it. They played like the stage was too big for them. They got punched in the mouth. Didn't punch back and more or less got blown out. But I am certainly, as a Celtics fan, I am certainly thrilled, despite the loss, to go back to Boston 1-1. So you can expound on the Draymond. He should have been ejected. That was ridiculous. It was
Well,
ridiculous.
I feel like I don't really agree. I feel like as much with you guys as the previous game. I mean, yeah, they came out and kind of got smacked in the third, but I don't think they came out from the game in general and got smacked in the mouth. I mean, the game was tied. Well, they were down one at half. Like this was a very, very winnable game. They weren't playing bad.
It was
You know what I
tight.
mean? Like they were playing. I mean, they were playing great defense on Curry in the first half. I mean, there was a possession that I spoke on when we were talking about the previous game, where it was I want to say it was a switch with Al Horford. He got on to Steph Curry, And I remember like Steph hit him with like a through the legs, like in and out hezzy. And Al, knowing that Steph wants to go for the three, and knowing that that's what gets him going more than anything else, Al sat on the outside of that in and out, even though anything telling you as far as like defense wise, like any defender would guard it straight up, but specifically on who it is, he played it basically that backwards way and let Steph go to the goal, and he ended up missing like a wide open layup, like point blank.
Yeah.
And it's just like little things like that, knowing who you're playing. And I've always, well, not let me not say always, but I felt this way as far as guarding Curry, at least when he gets switches for a while now, where it's just like he gets these switches on these big men. Like I will be telling my big man, hey, sit on the outside. If he gets past you, he still has to, he still has to finish over the help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Curry's a good finisher, and the numbers say he's great. But there are times where like I'll be more comfortable with him like trying to go for a contested layup at the rim as opposed to getting an in rhythm three when he's cooking against a big, because that's when he gets hot. He gets in rhythm. You don't want that. I
Yeah.
was just very impressed with like just like the mental decision to do that. Um, Now, yeah, as far as the second half, yes, they came out and got smacked crazy like, but I mean, I don't think that the stage was too big for them. I think it was a combination of the Warriors just had a little bit more urgency just because I mean, obviously they can't go to Boston down 0-2. That's dire. That's dire stuff.
Yeah.
So they probably played it with a little bit more urgency, and then like Steph Curry and Jordan Poole had some ridiculous makes in the third quarter. I
Half court
mean,
barrage.
yeah, like Jordan Poole's those two threes that he hit were damn near from half court. I mean, one was near the logo, and the other one was damn near by the coach's bench. Like those are crazy makes, and even Curry. Like yes, Curry is capable of hitting those, and we expect it, but he's not gonna like. I just don't expect him to smack those exact looks every time. Those are difficult
Yeah.
makes. I mean, fading, coming off the screen, fading to the left. Jordan Poole, two in and out burgers, basically heaving it, legs spreading in the air because he's putting his upper body into the shot. I mean, these are crazy,
Yeah.
crazy makes. And offensively for the Celtics, I mean, I definitely expect Horford and Smart. They got to be better. There's no way that I expect them to both have 2 points next game at home. No way.
Their combined
So
points dropped off drastically from like 22 to 4.
yeah, so it's just like they got hit. They got hit with a Warriors third quarter. They know that's a thing. This is the second game in a row that they've been hit with something like that. So I mean, there shouldn't be any surprises. They should be able to make their adjustments. They should know who should be in the game and who shouldn't at this point. Looking directly at you, Tice. Hey, you good
Hmm.
player. He shouldn't be in the game. And if he is, it's only when Steph is out. And I mean, it's not like Steph is getting a lot of time out the game anyway. So I mean,
Yeah.
well, let me correct that. If it's competitive, he's not going to be out the game for a while. So, but yeah, I mean, before I get into the Draymond stuff, I want to ask Gramps, what's the update on what's your boy's name? Time Lord?
Oh, Robert.
Robert,
Yeah,
uh, they'll do the usual questionable thing until game time, but I expect him to play. I don't see any
he,
reason why he won't play.
he is absolutely pivotal.
He looked
He
a little.
cannot be hurt.
He looked a little
But if he's
hobbled.
hurt. He did, but if he's hurt, that means Tyson's going to play, and it looked significantly different when he was in. Yeah, he can't be in. But either way, touching on the Draymond Green thing, I agree with Grimms, and I think, to be quite frank, I think it's bullshit because people want to talk about selective refereeing and things like that. That it's different. Like if it's like a flagrant or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the things with Draymond, and he's done this before, and people ignore this all the time because they just hate on, you know, billionaire Brian. But Draymond puts himself in positions to where he's putting his team in a bad situation. Like he should have never got the first tech in the first place. It's in the first. It's like the first quarter, and he's barking at the ref. Like, bruh, like you're doing too much. I like why should he get selective refereeing when he's already made a bad decision throughout the game? I've never seen I haven't seen in today's league where two players get into an altercation like that was and no tech be called. Like nothing. Like it looked bad. It's crazy. And the thing is like Draymond knew that he could do that. He felt very comfortable that they weren't going to throw him out.
Yeah.
Wasn't Tony Brothers on that crew for game 2?
Eve, so
I believe so.
100%.
Yeah. It seems to be a running pattern with him and questionable calls.
I mean, it's just it looked bad, man. It's just
I don't think it'd be changed
like
anything if it was either him or
Draymond.
Scott Foster, though. Honestly, they both have like weird ways of doing things when they officiate games.
I mean, Draymond basically tackles Jalen Green on a 3-point attempt, and then just rests his feet on his head.
Man.
Which okay, you know. So then he takes exception to it, rightfully so. Like, why are you just like move, get off me? So then he like pushes him, and then Draymond kind of pushes him back. And then like it was it's an altercation that's 100% a double T
Mm-hmm.
time of the season or anytime during the playoffs. It has been that way, and it looks even worse because Draymond Green was in large part a big spark plug for the Warriors winning that game. So it's just like okay,
maybe
man.
because he could fuck with everybody. That like honestly, even like most of the stuff that I've been seeing about like the post game ramifications was like everybody just saying like Draymond should have got fought, Draymond should have been gone, and it was just the fact of like the Celtics are a tough team. Like defensively, they like to get into people, but they're not Draymond to where it's like you're little like I said they're tackling people, you're like running under their arm to get fouls on them, like just a bunch of extracurricular stuff. That
I mean,
impresses
shit.
everybody.
I mean, this is a team with Marcus Smart and Grant Williams on this, so I can't say that because
They flop.
they're just as bad when it comes to that. They're just as bad.
Yeah.
But like, I would say that they don't have necessarily the same cachet. Marcus Smart has a little bit of it. Grant Williams definitely doesn't have the same that those two do. But it's just like he's doing stuff all game, bro. Like questionable things that like could get other players technicals throughout the season.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't just the Jaylen Brown thing. It were other things. You know, like him going back at players. Like I've seen players get teased for worse in the playoffs. So it's just like I think the main issue is just like be consistent, man. Like be consistent.
Yeah.
Like the shit gets irritating when the whistle's not consistent. Like the Celtics aren't getting foul calls. Like they're getting hacked and no foul calls during that run. So it's just like okay. I mean, I know it's the Warriors, but
It's kind of been like that the whole playoffs, to be honest with you.
as far as what?
Inconsistent refing.
Get a lot of consistent refing, especially I you know, with Boston, there in all the series there've been a lot of non-calls. I think it's because of how maybe it's due to how they play defense and how they get up in people. Pause. And so they're like the physicality, and they're just kind of letting some things slide. But then again, the consistency. Like if you're gonna call some things, you got to call all things that are like that. And in general, they're just not doing it. And you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with the Draymond Jalen thing. It should have been a double T. I mean, I think any other time it's a double T, but
any other time, if Draymond doesn't have one tech, it's literally a double technical. That is the issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I think it should have been anyway.
But no, but that's what I'm saying. That's the issue. It's the only reason it's not a double tech is because Draymond Green already has a technical. That means referees are going back to the table in the monitors and say, "Oh, we can't eject this guy no matter what he's done because he already has one." Like that's not the referee's job to look at the context like that and think about what's better for this team. This player has made mistakes and put his team in a bad position. Your job is to ref it. not to do all that other bullshit that everybody's talking about because it's not consistent. Like this is how the game is called now, so you can't pick and choose when you want to call it.
Totally
Yeah.
Like
agree.
shit's crazy.
Yeah.
But we
But
will
but
see.
I got two more things. Just two more things. So like, well, first thing was like, kind of go back to like the Grizzlies series with Draymond when he like pulled Brandon Clark down out of midair, and if anything, that was kind of semi more lighthearted than what he did to Jalen Brown. He got ejected immediately, no ifs ands or buts about it. He was gone, which is kind of going into this question about like just how they ref the games in general. At certain points, people always say like, "Oh, the current league is soft," or people get kicked for nothing, all that stuff, right? Do you think that sometimes when they get to these games that they try to find a fine line between giving people the stars, like not like the star, but like just like the key players like a Draymond Green, they want to keep those guys in the games during the finals, and it's like they kind of pitter back and forth because there's certain years where Draymond just gets kicked immediately, like he doesn't have a time to waste. Where there's no time to waste on getting him kicked, but stuff like this they keep him in. So are they kind of
I
like
mean,
battle
yeah,
with themselves?
they absolutely want to keep him in, of course. I mean, from a game standpoint, from a money standpoint, yes, everyone wants Draymond Green to play. He's one of the star players on the Warriors. We
Yeah,
all know this. But that's not that the point is just like he has done enough to get ejected. And the way that they have called and refed the game now for some years now, they give techs for anything. So it's just like he did something that has been a technical foul in the league for years.
yeah,
It's a very similar thing on how like the whole like when he got suspended for the Warriors, he didn't get suspended because because he nut tapped LeBron. He got suspended because that was like his seventh technical during the playoffs because he continuously rides that fine line, and he went over the amount. So that when you go over the amount, you get a suspension. It wasn't just that; it was the fact that he's been this way the entire playoffs. People didn't understand that. People still don't. I feel like a lot of people still don't understand that. Like it wasn't that by itself. If it was just that by himself, it would have just been a one shot and possession.
yeah,
But he continuously rides his fine line because this is how he's most effective, which is fine. I get it, but at times it's gonna bite the team. And last game, it should have bitten the team because he did enough to warrant that.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
One could assume in Boston that's probably not gonna happen, and that
I
game
mean,
could be the pivotal moment for them.
see, they are the Warriors. The media loves them. They are the media darlings of the NBA. So we'll see. Um, anything else on the finals games, guys?
um, yeah, keep Tice off the court. Pray for Robert.
Gr- Yeah. Time more plays, 20-ish minutes probably, and keep Tice off the court and hope Jason tees up.
Mm, yep.
That's fair. So moving on, to some more NBA news. We've had some movement in the coaching area or the coaching aspect. Couple, coaches stepping down, coaches getting hired, things like that. Quinn Snyder of the Utah Jazz is deciding to step down from the team, basically citing that for the team to progress, they need a new voice. Um, doesn't sound like the organization or the players are too thrilled about this decision, but I think it's the right one.
Yeah.
I can see why they're
How do you
upset
guys?
though.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like historically, players always are going to feel that way, and we've had two recent examples where this has happened, and like championships have happened basically within the next 3 years.
Yeah,
With Mark Jackson, although Mark Jackson didn't step down, he kind of got fired basically. But new voice after that foundation is laid, you bring in a new voice, new system, things like that elevates him to championship status. You have like a Jason Kidd with the Bucks, puts the ball in Giannis's hands, kind of advances his development. Then they move on from him. They bring in Bud. A couple years later, championship. So
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, a lot of times, it is to the benefit of the team, and especially like that team maxed out. So
I
I
mean,
personally wouldn't have got rid of, or I personally wouldn't have liked Snyder to step down. I would have moved one of the star players,
Yeah.
but
Which could still possibly happen, I feel.
I would think they would, and that maybe that was part of his thinking. Like he sees the writing on the wall.
Mm.
that's fair. That's definitely
Uh,
fair.
it's certainly possible.
Also, in a weird way, though, now that I think about it, like, I've seen something about, like, one of the rivalries that were, like, not rivalry, but, like, semi beef that was in, like, Jazz history, where, like, when Jerry Sloan was their head coach and they had just drafted Darren Williams, and, like, they just kept, like, first couple of years they were fine. Like, they started to have, like, those flashes of the team being good, but they just kept constantly, like, butting heads with each other. And then once Sloan actually, like, just stepped down, that a few years was being mediocre. I don't think that's gonna be the case with this one, but it's kind of like a kind of inverse side of it, to where Quinn Snyder, in a way, has kind of done as much as he could with the iteration that they gave him, with just literally having only Donovan Mitchell more or less as your key scorer for most of the time he's been there, with a little bit of Jordan
Exactly.
Clarkson. So it was probably time for him to move on. And the team as a whole just needs to have a reset.
And I think, Snyder, in my opinion, is an excellent coach. I don't really like people want to cite his playoff success, but you're not winning championships without a top five, top seven player, in my opinion, or at least someone playing like it.
Yeah,
Um, I can't remember. I can't even remember the last guy who wasn't in that realm to win a championship. So, I mean, I like Donovan Mitchell, but I don't think any of us think that he's in that realm. He's probably in the next group down. Um, and then you pair that with inconsistent uh offensive guy or offensive big man. Well, excuse me. You pair that with an inconsistent offensive big man like Rudy Gobert, who isn't really a consistent offensive threat. Can't really throw him the ball down on the block, get you a bucket consistently, but you're paying him like he is that guy.
yeah,
It's a lot. So I mean, I think Danny Ainge came out and said the Jazz desperately wanted Sider to stay, but I think think like you guys said, I think it's a mixture of both. Where he kind of sees that his team is maxed out, and he thinks that I think he thinks truly in his heart for them to get better. If they can get better, it's gonna some change has to occur. So
yeah.
yeah, but
And the roster's probably going to end up theoretically being something that doesn't really fit him.
oh that
It's
roster,
just
you got old ass Mike Conley. You got Rudy Gobert, who is not offensively inclined, and and your star player isn't someone who is going to bring the best out of him because that's just not his play style. He's not like that type of elite playmaker.
Yeah.
So, and then Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, is just not good enough to carry that type of team, which is no insult for sure. I only think there's a couple guys that could really do that, but those are top five guys. So
No. People just to see what they replace him with, though, honestly, because they could either keep the same defensive philosophy or kind of like I said, roster wise, like depending on see how they maneuver in the draft, free agency, like they could even have a different style of play. Like it might not be defense first, it might be a completely different pace.
star players ain't going to Utah, so free agency
Yeah,
probably out the window.
it'll probably be a rebuild through trades, like unloading both of them possibly, see what they can get out of
I
it.
mean, that's what I think they should do. I think they should just hit the reset button and try to rebuild through the draft and things like that because it's just not. It doesn't look good. Their prospects, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
yes, Donovan and Rudy are still young enough to build around, but like you just look around the landscape, especially in the West, where you have like teams who are gonna be there, the mainstays that are only gonna they're not going anywhere. Like you have the Warriors, even teams like the Suns, you know, and then you have younger teams who are going to just continue to ascend. You have the Mavericks, you have the Pelicans, You know what I mean? Like there are teams that are just going to get better, and then there's always and then even the Wolves,
Yeah.
and then there's always teams that make that push or get better before you expect them to. You know what I mean? So like, who knows where the Kings will be next year with a full year with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis and however they use this draft pick, or even the Thunder. Like you never know. So
So even the Nuggets, if they get a healthy Murray with Jokic and the gang, they might be back to their top form.
yeah, I mean, I expect them to be. I mean, their guys didn't play at all this past year, so yeah, I expect them to be back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just it's tough to continue to build to ride it out with that core when everybody else has at least two guys that can get you 20 to 30 easily most nights. And you got a guy who is a lob threat, I guess, and a defensive anchor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Blow it up.
I don't know if it's a total. I don't know. I think one of the two. I don't think they're going to trade them both. I mean, it is Trader Danny. I've
Man, you know how drove you be to just keep Rudy Gobert.
I mean,
Like, we're
yeah, or more or less like,
and
yeah, but it's like even if the case of like they trade Rudy, and then you just got Donovan out here really fitting for himself. It's like y'all just not helping
exactly.
anybody doing any favors for it.
Like you're not getting elite talent back for Rudy Gobert. That's the thing.
Yeah,
So it's just like you're not gonna really be able to get somebody to build around Donovan to win, and you're not gonna suck enough to like build in the draft.
yeah,
And then if you trade away Donovan, it's just like you riding forward with Rudy Gobert and with Jordan Clarkson, I guess, as your options. I mean, that's probably good. That's probably bad enough to tank. It might be.
yeah. I mean, because
I don't know.
Clarkson get you buckets, he ain't gonna get you wins. So
Yeah, he'll pick the shots up for sure.
yeah, you might get that random pull away game, and everybody's like, oh my god, what are the Jazz doing? And then they end like 12 and 40, 50, whatever.
Yeah. I mean that's been the Jazz's problem for a while now, though, in my opinion. You know, they've been able to draft good at times. They're always like one piece away, and they can't get it through free agency.
Yeah,
Like that's just what it is. Like they had a great team when they had Darian Williams and like Millsap and Boozer and Mehmet, and all those guys, but they just couldn't beat the Lakers. They were missing one piece, couldn't get past the hump.
so even back in the day, they had the mailman in stock.
Stockton and Melvin,
Hornacek wasn't enough to beat Jordan.
they got,
You weren't doing it.
got close a couple times and just couldn't get over the hump. They definitely were in range to do so, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It is what it is. Um, Showtime is taking a new outlook on the new season with the hiring of Darwin Ham. And for those of you who did not follow that, the Los Angeles Lakers have hired their new head coach, and he's ready to get down to work.
Did you buy everything in the press conference? Honestly,
Why wouldn't I buy it? Which
even
parts?
the Russ stuff, even the Russ stuff.
He didn't say nothing that was false. Russ is one of the greatest players we've ever seen. He's a Hall of Famer. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. That's one of the greatest players we've ever seen. That's facts. I mean,
it wasn't fluff, but the idea that he'll even be there when the season starts is very much.
he's going to be there. They cannot trade him. What are y'all not getting? What are y'all not getting? He can't be traded. We're not gonna trade a first round pick to give you Russell Westbrook. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like we already don't have any future. Like that's just what it is. We have no future. So I mean, it doesn't make sense to give even more up just to get rid of it. We might as well just try to make it work. I mean, LeBron 37. Like it doesn't make sense to trade more first round draft picks. It just doesn't. Like it'd have been different if like we made the playoffs last year and like Russ was the reason we like lost a playoff series, like a competitive playoff series. Okay, I get it. If we could just upgrade this one spot, but like that wasn't the case. Like Russ was not the only reason we were losing. Defense was terrible, injuries, coaching, rotations, all of it. It was not good. So, and then as far as the coach comes in, Is he not supposed to come in and support the players? Like he probably took the job knowing, hey man, more than likely Russ is going to be here. Okay, if Russ is going to be here, my job as a coach is to find a way to win and uplift our players and put them in the best positions to succeed. So I'm gonna start that off early by giving Russ the praise that he quite honestly deserves, at least for his career. And I'm not gonna come in bad mouthing him because it doesn't serve me as a coach in any way. I'm gonna butter him up if I can and get him to commit and get everybody to commit.
Yeah,
Because as you guys know, I had been saying this all season. Like fuck the offense. If we were just playing defense, we would have won half those games. We just weren't playing defense. You know what I mean? So like the offense can be bad. We can literally get to the playoffs by playing defense and having LeBron James. That's the truth. Like honestly.
yeah.
You don't think that was just pumping up Russ to make a trade more feasible?
No,
I mean,
because
Russ is Russ. His stock doesn't
because,
change by words.
and also like these guys aren't stupid. Like there are other GMs that saw what they saw in the court. You're not gonna make a GM want to trade for Russ because this new rookie head coach is like speaking highly of him. Like for if a trade's gonna happen, he's gonna have to play better, and or a team already just wanted him. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't serve it doesn't serve him any purpose to do anything else than what he did. I don't think a GM is going to be fooled by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just asking if it was at least an attempt to try to like boost his value in any way.
I'm not going to lie to you. If that was an attempt by him, then I am now concerned.
Plus, if anything, keeping it a stack,
I'm
like
concerned
it's Ham and Rashid. Like them dudes aren't gonna just say stuff for the sake of like trying to bolster his stock. That's probably actually how they feel. So whether he gets traded or not, it's up to Palinka in the squadron. But as far as like how they feel about Russ, that's probably their genuine feelings. There's no fluff
I
going
mean,
on.
because they're former players, and players
Yeah,
know how hard it is to do what Russ has done. It's
yeah,
only the media and all this that act like dude isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, like he hasn't won just because like there are reasons he's lost playoff series. It's like it's not. I don't know. It's just I don't know.
yeah.
People just look at.
Cause the way it's funny. It's funny to talk about Russ don't got no ring, da 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 da. But obviously everybody still knows what the physical talents that this man possesses. Like,
I mean, but even like on that standpoint, people look at just a blank slate of stats and numbers and just go off of that. Yes, he does. He has not won a championship. You know why? Because LeBron James exists. Like,
yeah,
bruh, like, come on. Like LeBron, he's knocked Russ out the playoffs twice. Knocked him out in the finals, and then knocked out the Rockets team. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, or even the year previous, he lost to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in their primes.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, or even when he was by himself, lost to James Harden when his MVP year. But that year, like, he had nobody else on the team that was going to be able to be consistent, at least from a perimeter standpoint. And that Rockets team was just way better.
yeah.
People acting like I don't know. There's no context a lot of times when people want to shit on players, and Russ is definitely one of those players that people want to shit on.
Yeah.
Now, with all that being said, do I expect a major turnaround this season? No. I got to see it to believe it, because until that defense is addressed, ain't nothing gonna change.
I
You're
might.
not playing today.
Mm-hmm.
You're not guarding the three and playing defense in today's league. You're just gonna get blown out, and that's what happened a lot of games. They're just letting teams shoot threes. Okay, well we'll just blow you out, and that's what happened a lot.
Yeah. Might sound like a homer take, but I feel like I'm one of the few that actually kind of does think that you guys will have a defensive improvement. At least from the perspective of like the guys that you brought in for coaching, they were on one of the greatest defensive teams of the 2000s. So it might not be an
Um,
immediate turnaround, but the seeds will be planted for y'all to be better defensively.
I mean, I hope so, and they are players, but I mean, I can't say that exact statement about Frank Vogel, but I mean, Frank Vogel was a head coach for one of the better defenses during that era when he was coaching the Pacers. You know, he's a defensive coach.
Yeah, PG
You know what I
hitter.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we weren't playing any defense. So I mean, maybe she gets up in the fellas' faces and and calls it what it is. Hopefully that but
Yeah,
hey man,
Frank is a vocal voice, but then you go down to staff. It's like Lionel Hollins, and I think Kidd was on y'all staff at some point before he got the Mavericks job. So
yeah, it's not like guys don't have cachet and names to themselves. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
thought
Darvin's picking his own people now. They're letting him pick
yeah,
his own
more or
people.
less.
I mean, hey, listen, she could be big. She could be big. Hey, fuck around. Hey, you might as well just go for the whole thing and pick up Oak. Get everybody on this mother.
Pick up
Get all
Oak.
the West Rappers. Yeah, hey, come on over here, Charles.
I mean, more or less, like I feel like they just need they need a lot of vocal guys on that staff that ain't afraid to get in them when they're not running hard in practice. When you lacking off of plays, throw a
Oh
clipboard
yeah,
on the ground, let
yeah.
them know what's up. They need that over there.
You definitely got to get into Russ a lot.
Yeah, they gonna have to shit talk Russ. Even LeBron apparently says he likes when people like yell at him and shit, which I don't know how to take that sometimes when I'm really
Sure he
thinking about the
does.
statement. But
Because he wants to win. I
yeah,
mean, in my what's the word I want to use? I guess memory. There's really only been two guys in a while that's really kind of gotten into it. It was Ty Lue,
yeah,
and LeBron loves Ty Lue. Loved him in Cleveland. Wanted him to get hired in L.A. And Eric Spoelstra, and he ain't got nothing but great things to say about Coach Spo, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Because it's like we want to win. Hold me accountable type stuff. I feel like as long as you're doing your job, I don't think LeBron's gonna have an issue with that.
yeah,
If you're the coach, now,
yeah.
not now, if you want to be Mario Chalmers trying to come at me, then hey, okay, hold on now.
Hold on, wait a minute.
But
Plus for a staff where you sign two former guys who were on the championship team, know what it's like to actually Darvin, one as a player, one as a coach. At that point, the guys know what they got to do to win. Needed somebody to really like get at them. I expect a lot of leaps and bounds. All they need to be healthy.
the roster does need to be addressed though, for sure.
Trevor Reeves is definitely
Absolutely.
up out of there.
You said who?
Trevor Reeves is definitely up out of there.
Oh, yeah, nah, he's a washing machine. He's the wash cycle. That boy done. I mean, but he ain't the only one. He ain't the only spin cycle we had on the team. Now we was running the laundromat over there, boy. I tell you what, we was we was running a laundromat and a driving school, a bunch of spin cycles and cones. Because man,
look like the
with
rock.
no defense
Look
being
like the
played.
Rockettes. They was just spinning.
Hey, well, I told you. Oh my! When some of these deals were made, I told you I was like, I don't understand why we're picking up DeAndre Jordan if we have Dwight Howard. They're redundant. Doesn't make any sense. Why are we picking up Kent Bazemore and Avery Bradley? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
I ain't gonna lie. As toxic as it sounds, I mean, like Melo had the good year. Not gonna lie for the role that he had.
Melo was a great pickup for Melo is a great pickup for most quote unquote championship contending teams.
Yeah, from an
Because that's
offensive standpoint, yeah.
yeah, because that's what he is at this point. He's an offensive spark plug off the bench. If he's hot, you can keep him on throughout the game. But otherwise, he's playing 15, 20 something minutes because he's going to get attacked on defense. But he can still give you very easily 12 to 15 points a game. Very easily.
Yeah.
So like, if we were playing defense and our rotations were good and we were healthy, he'd have a better season than he already did. He had a good season in my opinion. But like it wouldn't have looked as bad at times. It's like there were games where Mel was playing 30 minutes. Like no, not
he
not
playing like it's Nuggets Melo.
that's what I'm saying. Like not at this age, and not at this iteration of the NBA. Like where teams are just gonna hunt him in the pick and roll. Like no, doesn't make sense though. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully AD's healthy. If not, I don't know. But trade AD already. I'm already on that train. So I am.
What's the package looking like for him? If you were to ideally set up somewhere, what's the package looking
Give
like?
me a sign and trade to to Chicago for Zach LaVine and Vucevic.
And now be realistic.
I'm not being realistic. Shit.
They could probably get LaVine.
Oh, I know I can get. I know I can get just LaVine.
Yeah.
Especially, he don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
He doesn't even want to stay in Chicago. So a sign and trade makes sense for them. Hey, take AD while you can, and give us Zach LaVine and Vucevic, and we'll probably throw somebody else in there. We throw you Kendrick Nunn.
Man, they hit his knee on the
Maybe
coffee. Man, hit his knee
he'll
on the
play for
coffee
you.
table and just missed the whole year.
Maybe he'll play for you guys.
Yeah, ideally, yeah. At this point, AD might just have to be that catalyst. Y'all could go ahead and draft you a power forward, a little experiment.
I mean, that's a great trade, Gramps. I don't know what Gramps talking about. That's a great trade. That's a great trade. Vucevic is a little older. You know what I mean? And Zach LaVine's probably out the door.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, hey, take what you can get. Get you a all NBA talent caliber player when he plays, and pair that with DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, but they send him home. Him playing in the city.
Exactly.
Only reason I'm a little iffy on the Vooch thing is because
you can keep Vooch. Give me Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball, and I'll be fine. That's a much better trade.
They want Zoe back.
Yes, I never wanted Zoe to leave.
I ain't gonna, if they got this iteration of Zoe after the injury,
I didn't want any of them to leave, but I understood that with AD it was going to be a thing. But I gotta be honest with you, at the time I would have been fine. I would have personally been fine with trading Kuz and Ingram over Lonzo. You know what I mean? I was glad that we kept Kuz, but then they kind of relegated him. And like I said, that's fair because AD is going to take that spot, so that's what happened. But like, Kuz was never a jump shooter or like a 3-point specialist. I should say, he's a rhythm scorer. You take away his rhythm, he's not going to be able to score. I mean, he was buying into defense and he got significantly better at defense, but it's just like I don't know. It was literally the same thing with Brandon Ingram the year before. Like Brandon Ingram needs the ball even more to cook.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the ball. Yeah. And that's why he didn't look as good, and that's why people were having conversations about, hey, is Kyle Kuzma the number can he be the number 2 and over Brandon Ingram? And it looked like he could because Brandon needs the ball even more. So we got rid of Brandon, and then we relegated Kuz again. And it's just like, okay, we're not using our players. We're not allowing them to flow within the offense. It needs to be a more free-flowing offense, in my opinion. And I don't know how that looks, but I mean, you just got to maximize the guys we have on offense and defense, quite frankly.
Yeah. Defensively, I got some stuff to work with. It's offensively that is going to be the work in progress.
Man, the offense, bro. When you're playing, if you're playing defense, offense will come.
Yeah, it'll translate. Yeah.
And I know that's not how how NBA players do it. They literally feed their defensive off of their offensive success. Like if you're cooking on offense, you're gonna get back and get after it on the defensive end. I know that for the most part, but shit, it shouldn't be that way. Or you locking up, then it'll be when you lock up, it's easier to get fast break buckets, things like that. You got active hands, get steals, all that easy shit, fast break points. But hey man, listen, sheesh. We've made a lot of bad moves, GM wise. Little detail things, you know what I mean? Like potentially on who we traded in the AD deal, letting Caruso walk, which made no fucking sense. Not first round protecting, or like not protecting that pick. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, just minor.
I wouldn't have that looks stupid because like the Pelicans would have taken that easily because it's like, okay, you have LeBron and AD. Like, there's no way that this team is going to be as bad in 2 years. So yeah, we'll take that top 10. There's no way you're going to be that bad. Yeah, we'll take it, whatever. And then we would literally have the 8th pick right now.
Yeah.
And you do so much with that. It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But
nice little keep rotational piece at that point. But I mean, Jury's still out. Not he's in
Rotational
office.
piece for a trade. I mean, knowing the Lakers and LeBron, they'd probably trade it, but shit, even still,
They probably would trade it.
they're absolutely good. They would absolutely trade it for sure.
Yeah.
But even still, like that's just, I mean, that would get you a quality player for sure. I don't know who they would be able to get with something like that, but now the Pelicans have it, and shit, depending on what they do with it, hey,
They could
it
be a
could look
better
real
position.
scary next year. I mean, it already looks real scary for them next year. Honestly, the way that they played together and Zion coming back with the eighth overall pick and another year of those two wings,
Man,
it looks scary.
shoot, they might mess around and trade that eighth pick for a center, and then they really be shaking. Depending on who's
Don't they
available.
already have JV?
Man, they got JV, but
It's a
Jackson.
good center.
Yeah, it's like, but Jackson
He's
Hayes,
good.
try to give him a break. Jackson Hayes get ejected, tackle people or whatever.
No, I'm not trading. Hell no, I'm not
Need
trading that for no center. You don't need that.
need some depth.
You don't trade the top 10 pick for no depth. Yeah, if I'm trading the top 10 pick, I need a that's damn near all-star, very high quality level player. I'm gonna need something like that. They could trade down too though, and they could trade down and get some depth for sure.
Yeah,
But if I'm just trading the pick straight up, I need better than that.
yeah.
But now that I think about trading down, is probably the more realistic option.
Because it's
Honestly,
not really much they need either. There's a couple of teams that'll probably end up trading down that I see in the top 15. I mean, James, because like
yeah, I mean,
what's in abundance is not really what's asked for of their team.
I think they need a point. They need a point guard who can play off ball a little bit and um, center depth. Other than that, but I think other than that, they'll be. I mean, like I said, I already think they're in great shape. Willie Green has a lot to work with. If he can figure that offense out, it is going to be a scary sight. Oh my goodness!
They got some nice young long
Yes.
guards.
Hey man, when they go off next year, I'm taking full credit for this because I've been talking about this since the playoffs. When they, I've literally been talking about this since the playoffs. The way that they're playing, if they can come back and incorporate Zion, hey man, mm, shit is crazy.
You want to get into the little? It's football related, but you want to get into the little breaking news real quick before we
What's the
call it?
breaking news?
What's up?
The Broncos sale is going to the owners for a vote. The Walton Penner Group has been approved to buy the team for a record amount for an American sports franchise, but the amount is not known at this time.
Who's in that group?
It's the Walton Penner Group. It's basically the heir to the Walmart fortune.
Ooh,
Hmm.
man, that's cool. I guess I don't really know what that means as far as anything as far as for the Broncos. Does that mean they're going to be moving potentially? Is that what you're
No,
suggesting?
I don't think so. I just think new stable ownership group, and they're obviously loaded. So I don't think they're going to turn into a cost cutting team, especially now with the team they've built and Russ, thinking of a 5 for $250 extension. I think this ownership group is probably going to work as far as that for what they're doing. So
Relocation
just thought
would
it
be
was a
interesting for them.
newsworthy nugget that came out.
Yeah.
Very, very fair. I mean, but don't really change nothing for that boy up in KC, if you know what I'm saying. Don't really don't really do nothing for Patty Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Post Mahomes, Patty,
Oh,
my homeboy. What else I got? What are the other nicknames? What other nicknames you got? Baby
wow.
Dope. What else we got? What other nicknames we get?
They never called him Patty Ice, right?
Hey, I'm gonna do it now. Patty Ice, the Grim Reaper. How can I forget the Grim Reaper? I was what did Andy Reid say? When the situation looks grim, go be the Grim Reaper. That shit was cold. Oh man, it's such a shame we blew that game because if we would have ended up winning the Super Bowl, that statement would have been plastered everywhere. That clip would be everywhere. Shit crazy.
That's what keep plaque worthy on the low.
That shit's fire. Hey, what else? Showtime, the Magic Man, the Gunslinger. Hey, yeah, hey, listen, it don't change nothing for me. Russell, hey, listen, Russell's content. He got a Super Bowl. He got Sierra. He's gonna be content. He's chilling. He's big
Once
chilling.
he has, he's going to the mile high. He's going to the mile high. He's popping out kids. I mean, hey, it don't matter where they put him as long as he's playing football.
He fuck around, and be the third best quarterback in the division. So I mean, I ain't, hey, listen, at best he's two. You know what I'm saying? So hey,
Yeah.
they're the third worst team. They fuck around and be the fourth. Not to say that they're a bad team, obviously, but hey, this division is hell.
Yeah.
So
he wanted comp. He's getting comp.
he got it. Hey, he wanted it. He got it. He left San Francisco and the Rams to go to Kansas City and LA
Man.
and Vegas. So hey, yeah, he's got it for sure. Also, let me put some respect on the Arizona Cardinals because I didn't say them.
Yeah.
Respect to Kyler.
Rumble, young man, rumble.
Yeah. Anything
I'm not
else?
sure. I'm not sure
Anything?
how that little news nugget turned into a Patrick Mahomes thing, but sure, okay.
Of course not, Gramps. Because you know what? Because nah, I'm not even gonna do that. That was gonna be childish. I'm gonna let you live. I'm gonna let you live. I'm not gonna say nothing about your boys.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
gonna
how. I
do
don't
it.
know how that's relevant to the conversation either. But
I was finna get belligerent on it, but hey, listen, I'm not gonna do that to your boys. You guys had a good draft. You guys got some talent. It's looking up. Not better than the Eagles looking up, but it's looking up.
oh, it's been better than the Eagles.
Yeah,
We'll save that for a different conversation.
Jalen Hurts is your ass next year. I don't want to hear it.
Jalen Hurts is not.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts is not gonna
they
whoop our
are
ass.
sleeping on Hurts doing it, man. That's crazy.
This is crazy, bro. This is crazy.
They call him Hurts with the works out in Philly. That's what I heard.
Don't hate on Jalen Gramps. Don't do this.
I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying they're not gonna be whooping our ass. That's all. I'm not saying they're gonna finish last in the division or some
Oh, because if you said that, I mean, I can't
some
even.
kind of Gramps Bayless kind of thing. I ain't doing that.
And I mean, you did on a couple of occasions that Hurts couldn't throw a deep ball. We can't forget about
You
that.
did that.
His deep ball is not very good. That is factual. That is not
He
a
needs work.
Bayless take.
He needs work, but he's not incapable. You acting like he out here.
No, I didn't say he's incapable, but it as of right now, his deep ball isn't very good. He's throwing some Peyton Manning end of his career kind of ducks. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
not even that. It's not even that close. Let's stop that too. Let's stop that too. Peyton Manning was in my division, and the game that everybody found out that he was cooked was against us. So I know exactly what them ducks look like, and it ain't that bad. Them mugs look like they couldn't even come out his hand. Hey, that shit
Barely
was.
made it
Hey,
past the D line. Okay.
it was so bad that he got benched for Brock Osweiler. Think about that. There's levels.
That was a crazy time.
There are levels. Yes, there are levels to this. Either way, anything else, guys? Anything on any more news? Things you guys want to talk about real quick before we take us out? Or yeah, before I take us out.
Really quickly, I just want to say, I've been looking at my my rookies for my Lions. You know what I'm saying? I just want to very much talk about how like really good Jameson Williams looks in the Honolulu Blue. Like it is stunning, honestly, to see such a bright future in my receiving core again.
You
brings
better
me
hope
joy.
it's right for you because you traded a shit ton for him, so you better hope he turns into Julio Williamson or whatever his last name is.
If he turns into Calvin Moss Rice the third, I'll be happy.
Huh? Gramps?
I got nothing on that one.
I mean, you still have Scary Terry on your team, so smile.
And yeah, and Dotson's looked pretty good so far. He's cooking people. So
he can say he's cooking, but I can't call him a JMO. That's tough.
I just said he was cooking people. I didn't say he was going to be the next. I didn't say he was Jahan, Moss, Megatron, Bryce,
Owen,
all that
I
kind of
mean,
stuff.
Owens, Carter Swan.
I felt like we just glossed over the fact I said if. I didn't say he was Calvin Moss Rice the third.
Who is the third that you keep saying? Who's the
I just like
who's
added.
the
I
third?
just like added in there. It sounds good.
Oh, I thought you were just adding receiver names. So I was wondering who's
No.
this receiver
I
that's a
don't
third.
know if there is like a third in the league. Everybody's like the second. Well, yeah.
Anyways, man, where can these fine people follow you guys at?
At 23 on Twitter.
At PTP_99 on Twitter.
You can follow my big sexy ass at Chris D.
Oh.
Cobb on Instagram
Well,
and Twitter.
this degenerated.
With that being said, thank you guys for listening. We will see you next week. Also, P.S. When you talk about them, make sure it's a billionaire in it now. A billionaire Bron. LBJ, LeBron, billionaire James. That's what it stands for. All right.